Hello there guys, welcome back into my Earth Lodge. This might be the first time you've ever tuned into my channel, or you might have tuned in to me many times before, so in some respects you know what you're in for. I've got a few things beside me, stuff that I've been doing, for example like this fishing leister here. This is made out of yew, it's got sinew, this is made out of English yew wood, and it's got some pieces of bone inserted into it, and then using flax and a little bit of pine pitch, I've just given it a little bit of extra binding and support. The idea is that you go fishing with this. They're described as salmon fishing spears. These open up as you fork down onto the top of the salmon. It's probably something I'll never get to use, but quite good fun to make as well. I ended up having to put it onto a piece of yew like this. I was going to put it on hazel, but every time I split it, the hazel wandered, so that none of this was all going to match up. But partially that's what experimental archaeology is all about. Then going on from that, I have a few other little bits and pieces that I've recently been making, such as these little arrowheads. This one is a peculiar shape. It's called a transverse arrowhead. That's what goes into the animal, this sharp cutting edge here. And I think the value of this is it gives a big wide open cut, and it won't deflect off of bones as it goes in. Whereas the barbed and tanged one, if that hits a bone, the tip will shear off, and then it'll move round the bone and carry on travelling through. And the idea of the barbs and the tang here is so that you don't really cut through your binding, because its predecessor was described as a little leaf shaped arrowhead, and what happens is the bindings all get cut through on entry. And this funny little shape is either trapezoid or oblique. You can imagine it being hafted there, an easy way to grab hold of the arrowhead, once again giving you quite a sharp broad cut. And then this one is called the Marston point. Quite interesting in terms of its shape. I wonder whether that used to be hafted like that, which set that barb up really high. So recently I've made this. This is, as best I could describe it, it's like an ulu, which the Sami people would have used for clearing whale blubber and walrus and seal blubber from the skins they were working on. And that came to me in a dream. Funnily enough, just since this has been made, I've started looking into going and visiting the Sami peoples, and taking myself on a bit of a journey. But I'm learning already what a broad range of choices I've got there. I could be coming from in the northern hemispheres across as far as Russia, right across through Finland, Sweden, right out into northern Canadian territories, into Alaska, for reindeer herders, and just a wealth of possibilities. I don't know what still exists out there in terms of like people who are still living this culture, but that's something that I'm getting into right at the moment as far as thinking goes. And then funnily enough, this cropped up. It didn't just crop up, it was brought to me. So it's about a 2,500 years old piece of walrus tusk. And what I've agreed to is I'm going to make somebody a couple of flint axe heads as a trade for this. But funny how once you start going on a journey, bits from that territory end up coming in your direction, don't you think? It's a bit like I'm being guided, and at the moment, I've still got a lot of the bits to fall into place, so it's quite hard to even talk about, because I've yet to, everything I'm going to be doing is something I'm yet to learn. I made a choice just recently to challenge myself on a whole different level. So, and that's been a rabbit hole all by itself, to say the least. So I started to learn language, and the first language I've chosen to try and learn is Spanish. Yo hablo estudiante español. 5 weeks I've been doing it now, and I haven't missed a day. I've been really good, and I've been doing all my lessons. But what it's really helped me to understand is, as a teacher, how long it takes certain things to sink in. You know, you look and you try and you forget, and then you have to start again, and you keep repeating the process. But as you keep repeating the process, little by little, parts of the information and parts of the familiarity begin to stick, and you become ever increasingly familiar with what you're trying to do. So that's how I feel about it. So next to me here I have a big old chunk of flint, and my plan is to well, break it down to start off with without spilling everything everywhere. God damn. This side is a big chunk of flint, and I'm going to break it down. I want to see how many things I can get from it, and for the rest of this video, what I'm planning on doing is just basically taking one chunk off, because the arrowheads next to me are for a museum order, and they've ordered a few arrowheads and a few hand axes. So what I'm going to do from this right now is produce a hand axe. I don't know what sort yet, because I don't know what type of flake is going to come off or what the flint wants to do, but that's where we're headed. I'm going to open her up using this big old pebble, and basically I've got to move this around a little bit to make a decision on where I'm going to hit it. Well, I'm going to hit it there. I think I'm going to hit it here with a view to taking a big old slab out of there. All said and done, it shouldn't take that long to make a hand axe if things go right. That sounded good. Oi. And now what we have a nice flake of stone. So it's about getting some control over that. And we can leave this cortex at the back as a butt. Pop that down so I can actually get rid of this off my lap. And get rid of the things that are likely to bite me, which is the little shards. I won't need that big heavy rock anymore, so we'll drop down quite substantially to that, and we'll get started. So this is very flat on one side, very lumpy on the other. Just going to start up here. Nice piece of flint. So one of the things I've been doing over the last few years is going to lots of ancient sites around the world, quite a lot in Britain. We'll keep things like that, look, because we can make more arrowheads out of them. And it's been quite exciting going on journeys around the world to ancient places. But just of recently I found that there's been something, although it's still fun, there's something been missing for me a little bit. For example, when I went to Stonehenge and Silbury Hill, West Kennet Long Barrow, Avebury, and bits and pieces like that. They're never not going to be wonderful places, but they're not in places that are ancient anymore, because they're surrounded by farmland. They're surrounded in some respects by cities and towns, and it's very difficult to get away from modern life and sort of have another side to the adventure. And I wasn't sure what to do about that, because in my films what I'd like to do is I'd like to be testing my skills a little bit, and feeling a little bit of fear and feeling like I'm alive somewhat. And I think it's quite interesting regarding the Sami idea, because it's going to definitely take me away from the modern world into different lands with people who still have an indigenous way about them and lifestyle, and hopefully that'll be something that I can reward myself with by learning new things, and it's a slightly different way to attaching to people from it's a slightly different way of attaching to people who are of the land as our ancestors would have once been. So, like I said, I can't say too much about it yet, because there's a lot of planning, there's a lot of thinking, there's a lot of finding out to do. Just sort of slowing down what I'm saying and starting to think about this a little bit. I know it's a little bit oversized, but sometimes hand axes were. Sometimes hand axes were like bigger than the tool that you'd expect to use in your hand. That's always been a bit of a puzzle for archaeology. It's like, well, what's it for? In some respects, it doesn't have to be for anything. Once you start napping, you're presented with a challenge that's going to go its own way, and it can steer your thinking by the rock more than the task. Because naturally I'd make it smaller, but it's quite good fun working it at this scale. But I would imagine I'll lose a bit of this tip, just trying to get a nice flake plan going. So the reason that the university that has ordered these bits off me wants them is because they want the archaeologists who are doing their current PhDs to do illustrations of artefacts, and so they want a sort of nice comprised range of stuff. Got a bit of an awkward moment going on in there, so that the students can have them on their desk and they can draw them. So if I get it right, these will be quite nice to draw because they'll have nice flake scars and so forth. this is turning into a style of hand axe, a little bit like one that's called the Hoxne hand axe, which was about 400,000 years old, and the style they described it as is ficron. I don't know where the word ficron comes from, but basically it's like a shark's tooth, delicate tip and narrow all the way up, expanding out at the base. I haven't tried to do that with this, it's just the nature of the way the shape sort of played itself out. And if you're used to watching what I get up to, you're probably wondering why I haven't posted for 5 or 6 weeks. That's for no other reason than in life you sort of go for a sequence of refinding yourself. Like I said, you know, I've been really enjoying the rabbit hole of learning a new language, or starting to, and I've realised that I'm not going to learn a language in a few months. It's going to be a few years minimum. It's a very English thing to be lazy and not learn language. But then what you do find, it's not surprising, is that people from other countries tend to look down the nose at you because you're being lazy. And I can totally understand that. But I don't want to go to other countries and feel like the ignorant Englishman. That's not okay. So it's about doing something about it. I needed that one, I wanted that. Knew that was going to be a bit tricky getting there. So, I think we describe that as a cortically butted ficron hand axe. Fits in the hand nice. Didn't take long to make. It's good fun to make, and it's yeah, it's a reasonable example of the Hoxne hand axe, about 400,000 years old. So there we are. Like I said, if you're new to the channel and you liked a bit of that, there's lots of videos back there that I've been doing, lots of different things that I get up to, and a few things that you can learn from me. I also have a website where you can come on courses. That's the 3 W's, and then it's will-lord.co.uk. Or if you wanted to, you can become a member of my YouTube channel, which is... you just click on the membership button, and by doing that you'll be throwing me a little support along the way and helping me put a bit of fuel in my tank to get to some more far-flung ancient places. So with that being said, for now that's my video today, and hopefully I'll get something new going which will be be for whatever theme it is shortly. Till then, take care guys.